Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. The next prop I would like to build is an animated angel. Now I've already built a couple angels in the past, but none of them were animated. I want to build something that's animated this time, something that has lights, audio, all that kind of stuff. So what my game plan for this particular prop is going to be is I want a standing angel that's kind of looking down towards the ground, and then when a motion sensor is triggered, I want her head to come up, I want lights to come on, you hear audio, and then I also want the wings to move. Now I don't want just wings that's just going to move back and forth. I want these wings to move almost a full 180 degrees from the stored position to the full upright position above her head. So when this thing is all said and done, this thing's probably going to be about 8.5, 9 feet tall when everything's said and done, which I think is going to be pretty cool looking if it all turns out the way I want it to. So let's go ahead and get started on this one and let's see if it works out. Okay, so to kick this build off, I'm going to be starting off with this mannequin body right here. Now what I plan to do is cover this with like a painter's tarp and stuff like that, so I can put fiberglass on it and generate a fiberglass mold of this body right here. And what the fiberglass thing is going to be mainly for is essentially like a front cover for when I put the dress and stuff like that on there. I have the body form. It's also going to give me my sizes for how long the arms need to be, how big the wings are going to be, and all that kind of stuff. And it also gives me a nice hollow cavity on the backside for my metal armature that's going to support everything as far as the wings and the arms and stuff like that. So my game plan here is I'm going to take this thin painter's tarp right here. I'm going to apply it with some spray tack, nothing special, over the entire thing and try to get it all nice and laid nice and flat so I get a really good mold out of it. But I'm also going to be using a super thin tarp. So this way I can get all the contours properly. And fiberglass, as it cures, actually generates a little bit of heat. So I'm worried that it might actually kind of melt through this. And if it melts through that, it's going to get stuck to the plastic of this, making it really hard for me to remove. So after I get the entire thing covered in the plastic, I'll be covering in masking tape after the fact. So that's going to give me my barrier between my fiberglass and all this right here. And then once I peel the whole thing off, this will just stay part of the fiberglass. It's not going to hurt anything. It'll just stay there. So step one, let me go ahead and get this completely covered, get the fiberglass on it, get it peeled off, and then I can start building the armature and going from there. So what I'm working on at this point right now is I'm making it to where I have one of the legs kind of push forward a little bit. Pretty much about 90% of the angel statues that you'll see seem to always have one leg kind of push forward like that right there, where you kind of see the knee, kind of pushing the dress out and stuff like that. So I made a couple cuts so I could take that leg off right there. Did a pie cut at the knee so I could bend it here at the knee. Then the next step is I'm going to put some masking tape, just kind of hold everything in position. I'm going to do a couple pieces of fiberglass mat until I lock it in that position, and then I'll be able to add the rest of it after that to lock that shape in place. After I get done with that, then I can start working on building the armature to fit the shape of that, and then go from there. All right, so I got the armature started. I got the fiberglass body anchored to it and the pose that I want to stay in. So this way, when I build everything else, This is essentially the arrangement it's going to be in. You see it has a little bit of a lean forward. Then you see you got the leg kind of protruding out a little bit. You see I got the armature back here. I did put some gussets on the bottom. That's going to be covered behind the dress, so I'm not too worried about it. Obviously, I still got to put the extra reinforcements across, but I got to figure out where my wings are going to sit and all that stuff before I do all that. So I just have the one going across there, and that's it. The next step is I'm kind of getting an idea of how I want to do the wings, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing there. All right, so I'm kind of working on the wings at the moment, and what I want to do is I want to kind of scale it a little bit, so this way I'm not wasting material. So I have some rough measurements to kind of work off of. I'm sure it's going to alter a little bit, but I want something that's a little bit more, accurate than just kind of ballparking it. So what it is, I took a ruler, and every eighth of an inch, I factored 1 inch. So obviously, if I went from the 1 to the 2, that's 8 inches. From 1 to the 3, that's going to be 16 inches, and whatever's in between. And I just used a bunch of popsicle sticks to try to figure out what I want to do. So the game plan is when the wings are in the full, down position, I want them to kind of be like this right here. They kind of come down, kind of curve out a little bit. They're going to be somewhat behind the body and all that kind of stuff. And then once it's triggered, I want the wings to come pretty much vertically straight up. I don't want them to stop like halfway or anything like that. I want them to come all the way up like that. I want this thing to be 9-10 feet tall when everything's said and done. I want this thing to be very impressive, intimidating, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously once it times out, I want them to come back down and they'll be, all stored like that. The trick is going to be figuring out how I'm going to make this all work properly. So that's going to be a little trial and error. The mechanism is going to be okay because I kind of got that defined, but making sure like this and this piece and all that stuff work well with each other, I'm sure I'm going to have a little bit of trial and error with that. But other than that, this kind of gives me a basic concept to work off of. So let's go and get started on that next. Okay, so I'm at this point right now, and it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. I was trying to think of the most simplest design possible because I want the least amount of moving parts as I can, so less things to go wrong. There's a lot of good tutorials out there, people that have made wings, but they have all these extra linkages and all that stuff that kind of make everything move. But that's just more things to go wrong, and I don't want stuff to go wrong. I want it to be simple. And this is a very simple design. The downside is the main lever. The main lever that lifts the wings up is going to be my problem child, because you can see where it's kind of already in a vertical position when the wing is down. Now, when the wing comes up, if you see, this actually travels in like a moon crescent kind of shape to it. So now I can't just do a linkage there. It's going to have to be some kind of cable system to make it work. The other problem I ran into is how short this is, because obviously if I have 2 of these here, they got to clear each other. Well, that takes a little bit more effort to lift than it would be if I had more leverage, especially once I get the wing on here. So now I'd have to try to find a way to make these longer and kind of make them to where they kind of go past each other like this. Now I'm just over-engineering it and make it more complicated than it needs to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eliminate this portion right here. I'm just going to make new tabs on here, and I'm just going to get myself some air cylinders and just put an air cylinder on each side, just like this. So lift them up, to bring them down, done, simple. So I'm going to have to figure out what size I need, go ahead and order those, and then we'll get back on it. All right, so you see I was kind of working on the head neck assembly. I'm waiting for those cylinders to show up. You see I have a really super small cylinder right here. It's just something I've had for a while. But what's cool about this is it actually has a spring inside here, so it automatically retracts back like this. So the only thing I need is I only need pressure one direction to make it move. And then once the pressure gets released, the head's going to come back on its own. Once I get the draping on there, I might have to put a spring on there just to give it a little extra assistance. But other than that, you see I don't have to do a dual acting cylinder to make this work. All right, so this is actually a really small cylinder, so it doesn't take a whole lot of air pressure to make it move. So I'm really going to have to dial in to slow it down a little bit. But essentially what's going to happen is when it's in the stored position, like it's not being triggered yet, the head will be down like that. And then once the motion sensor gets triggered, you'll hear a sound, and then she'll look up at them, and then the wings will come up. And then when it goes back into stored position, it'll go like that again. Okay, so while I'm waiting for my cylinders and stuff like that to come in, I'm going to start working on my shoulders a little bit, because right now, obviously, I don't really have much of a shoulder, so I got to rebuild them and all that kind of stuff. So what my game plan here is I took some square tubing, welded to the armature, and then cut the body out so the body can still come off if necessary. And I have this piece coming down right here. And what I do is I just took a piece of foam, notched out the backside. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue it on here, put it on, let it stay there. And then what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to take like a rasp and I'll be able to and just carve this and shape it the way I want to. And then what I'm also going to do is the reason why I have this sticking down like that is I want to make the arms removable. So I'm going to take some electrical conduit. I'm going to put it up inside here, put a screw in there, bend it to the shape that I want, and I'm going to wrap that with foam. So this way the actual arm is wrapped around, I guess you could say, the electrical conduit. And once I have everything in place, I got the arm in place, I'm going to sand everything all at the same time so I get a nice transition from this piece to this piece and all that kind of stuff. Once I'm happy with that, I'll remove the arms. I'll fiberglass this portion all in so this way it's part of the body. And then once I stick the arms in there, I'll have a nice transition to go down. So when I put the dress and all that stuff on there, everything will look like it's all one piece. So let me go ahead and glue this on. We'll get started on that. Okay, so right now I'm working on the arm and the hands, and I picked these up on Amazon right here. Just a pair of mannequin hands, a left and a right. These things were really cheap. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were like less than 20 bucks for the pair. But what I didn't realize is that having this little tab thing on the bottom here, but you see it just has a couple screws. So I was just literally just going to just pull that off and drill a hole so I could shove like a rod or something like that up inside here, maybe up into the finger, glue it in position, shove it on there and be done with it. But then I thought, well, what if there's a way I can make it to where I can remove the hand, for whatever reason. I shouldn't have a reason to, but you just never know. Why not? So I kind of looked at it and I cover it with markers so you can see. You can see it has like a little bit of like a key kind of shape to it. It's a little prong that hangs out with a little key on there. So what I did with the pipe is I took and a couple, flat washers, welded the washers on here, took my Dremel tool, ground it so I made that little key shape right there for that piece, and then just made it to where I could put the hands in there. I could spin them, lock them in place, and now if, say, for some reason I want the hands to be more in or this or something like that, I can get my idea of what I want them to look like so they look as natural as possible before I sand all my styrofoam down. So then once it's all done, it'll look just what I want. And if I ever needed to remove the hand for whatever reason, I can just turn it, get it to that key, take it out, store it, and we're good to go. Thought I'd share that. It was a little more work, but I think in the end, it's going to be worth it. Special delivery. We have our cylinders. Next step is to see if they work. So my plan is I'm going to be welding an ear on here that's going to kind of come out right here, and then figure out exactly where it needs to be on the wing so I can get full extension on it. So that's going to be the next step. So let's get started on that next. All right, so these wings have been giving me a run for my money. I'll say that these things have been a real pain. I've tried all kinds of stuff with those cylinders I picked up. I just could not get them to work the way I want them to. Either I couldn't get full lift out of the wings that I wanted, or if I was able to get as close as I could to full lift, I had to put so much pressure in those cylinders that the wings would kind of bounce a little bit. And I don't even have the styrofoam on them yet, so that's just not going to work. So I went back to my original idea and try to see if I can improve on that instead. So what I did is that this one right here, you can see I kind of put a bend in it right here. I straightened this pipe out a little bit more, and I took out this bend here, which I'm not super sure I'm happy with that portion just yet, but everything else is going to be just fine because it's going to be covered with the foam anyways. And I also have this really huge cylinder right here that I've had for a long time. Right now it's just temporarily kind of makeshift in there to try to make it work. I'll have to do something a little more permanent, but you can see where I kind of got two links going down to it right here. I got the two bars going up. So I'm going to go ahead and make it move and show you how it works. All right, so at this moment, since the cylinder is not dead center and I don't have everything dialed in just yet, because nothing's really actually kind of permanently attached, the wings don't go up at the same distance at the moment, but that'll all get fixed when I start making everything more permanent. But just kind of show you how it works. Right now, I'm running about 25 psi. So you see the wing on the right hand side is a little bit lower than the one on the left, but like I said, once I dial everything in, that's gonna be fixed, and then I got to figure out exactly how I'm gonna do the foam on the wings now. Now that I changed my design, I got to kind of change the way those are a little bit. And then I have one of those one-way valves, so as soon as you take the power away from the valves, it'll let them bleed down nice and slow. There we go. So the next step is to get all that stuff permanently attached, dialed in, and then I'm on the home stretch. All right, so I made a little bracket right there to hold the cylinder. I made a little junction right here at the top of it, and I made these adjustable rods where I can, pull this out, spin this around up or down, so I can dial in the wings to try to make sure that the wings are at the same height when they go all the way up. Now, because of the way this is kind of worked out, this is not going to be much of a 360-degree prop like I've been trying to do lately, where you can see it from all sides. The backside's really not going to be seen. I'm still going to dress it up to make it look as nice as I can. I got at least some kind of access panel on the backside here to be able to get to the cylinder, that cylinder if I ever need to. And I'm thinking about on the metal right here, that's where I'm going to mount my valves, my peekaboo controller. So this way they're all kind of tucked up nice and neatly right there. I went ahead and added the foam on here for some visual aids. So I'm going to go ahead and lift them up and show you what it looks like. All right, so the next step is just get those valves and peekaboo mounted in there. Just do a quick program on it just to make sure that everything's working as far as the head is tilting like it's supposed to, the wings are moving like they're supposed to. Off the motion sensor, so I know it's doing its thing all by itself. Once I'm happy with that, then I'll go ahead and start doing all the detail stuff. Make the wings look like wings, get a dress mounted on there, get the head dressing on there, and we should start seeing this thing come together. So the bottom is all done. I also put the foot on there. That's the part that's going to be kind of exposed. I put the wings back in position. Still got to do the part right here to kind of thicken it up a little bit. And then on the back side for all the controls, I picked up one of those little storage boxes from like the fishing area of Walmart. I'm going to open it up and show you what I did in there. All right, so what I did here is when I built the back, I made sure I notched it enough so it sat down inside here. I had to make these little right here so I can get these little tabs to open up. Can't really get my finger in there, so I just have these little pieces of zip tie so I can just pop them up like that. Gets down, so I got my peekaboo in here, the two valves, the power supply. I can get to all my buttons for programming without a problem. I also went ahead and drilled a whole bunch of holes in the bottom for ventilation. Also, if any water or moisture gets inside there, hopefully not, it has a place to drain out so it can't like get trapped in there. I also have all my wires ran, for the motion sensor, the power. I put a ground block here because I have so many grounds going into it. Instead of cramming a whole bunch of them into there, I did it right here, so it's much easier to work with. I also took and pre-ran a bunch of extra wires through the base ahead of time for speakers, extra lighting. This is also for some lighting, and then the air hoses themselves. And then when this is all painted, this will all kind of blend into the back of it, making it easy to get to, but also kind of tucked away, stored, protected, and all that kind of stuff. And the other thing I did is, you can see I took these piece of electrical conduit and I kind of bent those to follow the shape of the fiberglass mold. I did that so when I run the draping or the dress, whatever I'm going to use around it, this is what I'm going to wrap it around right here. So from the side and front, it definitely has a nice shape where it's kind of billowed out, follows the shape of the fiberglass form. And then I'm building a cover that's going to screw to this, that's going to cover this whole backside and come all the way up to the top right there. So this way, if I ever need to get to any of the mechanical stuff, I just pull a few screws out, I can expose this entire back section right here without a problem. So, but the next step is I did pick up a costume that I'm going to try to use. I kind of like the way this looks because it actually has an area that, like where it covers the neck and everything like that, so I don't have to worry about dressing that area up or whatever. And it's a nice, just straight dress, nothing, fancy or anything like that. So I'm going to give that a shot and see what happens. So let's go ahead and start on that next. All right, so I went ahead and put the costume on, did some styling to see how everything was going to fit before I start covering it in paint. It was a little short, so we did add some to the bottom right there to make it so I can get that flare like I want to. I'm really happy with that. I pulled the wings off so I can get in here and work with it a little bit better so I'm not constantly hitting them. You see I got everything kind of pulled nice and tight, just the way I wanted. I think it's styled really good. So the first step is going to be I'm going to take the dress, completely coat it in paint, put it back on, style it, get it just the way I want it. Then this upper section between the veil and this part right here, I'm going to have to find the perfect balance of getting it rigid enough to where it doesn't go like this in the wind, but flexible enough to where the head can do its pivot like it needs to, and also still have enough paint on there so I have a good uniform color between here and there. So that's going to be a little bit of fun, but the rest of it's going to be pretty basic. It's all rigid material. So let's go ahead and start taking it apart and work on that next. All right, so I got it in place. It was definitely being a little stubborn. I was trying to get it to like follow certain contours and stuff like that, and it didn't quite follow every contour like I wanted to. But for the most part, I think it's going to be okay. I mean, you definitely see the define, stuff like the knee and things like that. So now I just got to let this dry, completely dry, and then I'll put a second coat on it to help stiffen it up a little bit more, and then we'll go from there. All right, I have it out here in the yard so the sun can help dry it. I got about 3 more coats on the dress, the sleeves, and all that kind of stuff. I put a couple extra coats on this upper section right here, but I can't put any more. It's already getting a little on the stiff side. I got to have some flexibility to it, so I can't go any more with that. But everything else is turning out pretty good. I got the wings right here. I put about 3 coats on this so far. I might go 1 more. I might not. I'm not sure. I mean, right now they're covered pretty nicely, so I might just leave them alone. Now, I haven't painted the base yet because I have a little more trim I might want to do to it, or I might want to put maybe some decorative little corner pieces on it. I'm not sure just yet, so that's why I haven't painted that yet. But I'm also kind of thinking I kind of like the white. I'm thinking about maybe going with a marble look on this one to start with. And if it doesn't work out, then I just paint the whole thing gray, no harm, no foul. But for starters, I think I might try to go with a nice giant marble angel statue. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and consider her to be done. I went ahead and went with the marble look. I kind of like the way it turned out. And, if I ever decide that I want to change it down the road, it's just a matter of just changing the color on it. It's not going to be a big deal to change the color on it if I decide to do that down the road. But for now, I'm pretty happy with the overall marble look that's on it. And on the back side, just to kind of help protect all the mechanical stuff and to hide it, I made that nice little cover that goes over the back side. I went ahead and left that exposed like that. So this way I can see the LEDs on and stuff like that, so I know there's power going to it. So I went ahead and just left it clear on the front. The one last little thing that I did to kind of help with the ease of moving it around and transporting it, so I didn't have a bunch of wires all hanging all over the place, was putting a connector back here for the speaker, the lighting, and the motion sensor. So I did right here, so this way nothing's hardwired outside of the air hose per se. Is I have this little connector right here, so I have the one spot that I can plug my speaker into. And I have my lighting that's going to light on the front of her, and then I have my motion sensor right here. All of them are hooked up with just these push-on style connectors. So all I gotta do is just plug them all in, hook up the air, hook up the power, it's ready to go. When I'm done, unplug all those, unplug the power, unhook the air, roll all the cords around those, and it's gonna be much easier to carry them that way instead of trying to wrap all the cords and everything around her just to move it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get everything hooked up, show you what it looks like with some light out so you can see everything moving really good. And then once it gets nice and dark, we'll fire it up so you can see what it's gonna look like, at nighttime when it be in the display. So go ahead and get her moving. All right, so here's a daytime, so you can see everything in action. The audio is something my wife recorded, so we can make it move so you can see what it does. So here we go.
Hello there. Don't be afraid. Come to me. Come closer. Now it's too late for you, and you're doomed, and your soul is mine for all of eternity.
All right, so we're gonna wait till it gets dark so you guys can see it in the nighttime. So we'll get back to it in a minute. All right, so here we are in the dark. I got just a little bit of ambient light on it so you can see it. Let's go ahead and set it off.
Hello there. Don't be afraid. Come to me. Come closer. Now it's too late for you, and you're doomed, and your soul is mine for all of eternity. Hello there. Don't be afraid. Come to me. Come closer. Now it's too late for you, and you're doomed, and your soul is mine for all of eternity. Hello there. Don't be afraid. Come to me. Come closer. Now it's too late for you, and you're doomed, and your soul is mine for all of eternity. Hello there. Don't be afraid. Come to me. Come closer. Now it's too late for you, and you're doomed, and your soul is mine for all of eternity.
I'm going to go ahead and consider this one to be done. Other than maybe a couple details down the road, maybe I might add a little bit more gray to it to help with the marble look. But right now, I'm really happy with the way it looks. And I'm going to be honest with you, I know if I touch it, then I'm not going to like it. So realistically, I'm not going to touch it. Overall, I really think this piece came out phenomenal. I think it looks great. Everything just seemed to work. Not first try, not even the second try, but it worked. You know what I mean? The wings, I definitely have my doubts with these things. I was having a lot of issues with these things. Not only was I not able to get the mechanism to work originally, the cylinders I picked up didn't want to work. Having to go the other route, I finally found that perfect combination to get these things to work. And I just absolutely think it looks phenomenal when it's up in the air. These wings, when they're all the way extended, just makes this thing look absolutely incredible. I hope you all agree with me on that one. So overall, I'm really happy with this piece. Actually, I think this is one of my favorite pieces I've made in quite a while. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button for me. Leave me a comment, tell me what you guys think of this particular one. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching.